Ecosystem, coined by Arthur Tansley in 1935, are dynamic systems where living organisms interact with their non-living environment. They vary in composition, species diversity, and non-biological components involving energy flow and material cycling. It can be as large as the entire biosphere itself or as small as a log of wood, each hosting the various components of the ecosystem interacting together. The study of ecosystem focuses on their structure and function. These complex systems face threats that can degrade, fragment, or destroy them, impacting the delicate balance crucial for supporting life. Understanding these threats is vital for preserving biodiversity and the health of the ecosystem globally. Components of ecosystem. An ecosystem consists of two main components, biotic and abiotic. Biotic components. These are the living organisms present in an ecosystem, including producers, autotrophs, organisms that produce their food through photosynthesis. Plants, algae, and certain bacteria are autotrophs. They form the base of the food chain and are essential for energy flow in ecosystems. Consumers, heterotrophs. These are organisms that consume other organisms for food. Primary consumer, herbivores. Organisms that feed directly on producer. Example, deer, rabbits, grasshopper, etc. Secondary consumers, carnivores. Organisms that feed on primary consumers. Example, snakes, foxes, owls, etc. Tertiary consumers, top predators. Organisms at the top of the food chain that feed on secondary consumers. Example, lions, sharks, eagles, humans, etc. Decomposers, detrivores. Organisms that break down dead organic matter, releasing nutrients back into the ecosystem. Example, bacteria, fungi, earthworms. They play a crucial role in nutrient cycling. Keystone species. These are species that play a disproportionately large role in maintaining the structure and functioning of an ecosystem relative to their abundance. Their removal or decline can have cascading effects on the entire ecosystem. Ecological niche. A niche is the functional role or position of a species within an ecosystem, including its behavior, activities, and interaction with the biotic and abiotic environment. Each species occupies a unique niche, allowing for coexistence and efficient resource utilization. Abiotic components. These are the non-living physical and chemical factors present in an ecosystem, including sunlight, temperature, water, soil, air, minerals, and nutrients. Types of ecosystem. Ecosystem can be classified based on various factors such as their physical characteristics, location, and dominant species. Here are some common types of ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystems. Forest ecosystem, tropical rainforest, temperature forest, boreal forest. Grassland ecosystems, savannas, prairies, steppes. Desert ecosystem, hot and cold desert. Tundra ecosystem, Arctic tundra, alpine tundra. Aquatic ecosystems, freshwater ecosystems, lakes, rivers, ponds, wetlands. Marine ecosystem, ocean, coral reefs, estuaries, mangroves. Artificial ecosystem, urban ecosystem, cities, parks, gardens. Agricultural ecosystem, croplands, pastures, orchards. Ecotone. Ecotone is a transition zone between two ecosystems varying in width and occurring locally or regionally. It hosts species from both adjacent ecosystems and includes examples like marshland, mangrove forest, and estuaries. Generally, the biodiversity in an ecotone is higher than the two constituting ecosystems. This is called the root effect. Functioning of ecosystem. Ecosystem function through various processes and interaction between their biotic and abiotic components. These processes include the flow of energy and material nutrients among the components of the ecosystem, which are essential for maintaining the balance and sustainability of the ecosystem. Productivity. Ecosystems rely on solar energy, which plants convert into biomass through photosynthesis, a process known as primary production. The rate of this production is called productivity. Standing crop and Biomass. Standing crop refers to the mass of living material organism at a specific time within a trophic level. It can be measured either as biomass, fresh or dry weight, or as the number of organisms per unit area. Measuring biomass in terms of dry weight is more accurate because it accounts for variation due to water content. Productivity is categorized into gross primary productivity (GPP). It is the total organic matter produced by photosynthesis. Plants use a portion of this for respiration. Net primary productivity (NPP). The remaining organic matter after subtracting respiration from GPP is available for consumption by heterotrophs, herbivores and decomposers and is called the NPP. Secondary productivity, the rate at which consumers form new organic factors for high NPP. Types of plant species, environmental conditions, nutrient availability and photosynthetic capacity influence productivity. Hence it varies across ecosystems. Coral reefs and tropical rainforests have high productivity. Total annual NPP of the biosphere, it is about 170 billion tons of organic matter. Despite covering 70% of the Earth, oceans contribute only 55 billion tons, with the rest coming from land. Energy flow. Energy is the driving force that sustains life in ecosystem. The primary source of energy is the sun, and this energy is transferred through the ecosystem via food chains and food webs. Trophic levels. Organisms in an ecosystem occupy specific positions based on their feeding relationship. These positions are called trophic levels. The trophic levels include producer, autotrophs, primary consumers, herbivores, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. 10% law and energy transfer. Approximately 10% of energy is transferred from one trophic level to the next in a food chain. As energy flow through the food chain, some are lost as heat during metabolic processes and due to inefficiencies. Consequently, the number of trophic levels in an ecosystem is limited by the available energy. Energy flows unidirectionally from the sun to producer and then to consumers. This process aligns with the first law of thermodynamics, conservation of energy. Food chains and webs. These represent the energy flow in an ecosystem from producer to the top predators. A food chain is a linear sequence of organisms where each organism is consumed by the next at the higher trophic level. A food web is a network of interconnected food chains that show more complex interaction. Organisms depend on producer directly or indirectly for their food. Types of food chains: grazing food chain, detritus food chain and parasitic food chain. Ecological pyramid. These are graphical representations that illustrate the relative amounts of producer, consumers and energy at different trophic levels in an ecosystem. Types of pyramids: pyramids of biomass, pyramids of number and pyramids of energy. Nutrient cycle. Nutrient cycling is the continuous movement and exchange of essential elements carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, water, etc. between the biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem. These cycles are driven by various biological, geological and chemical processes. Hydrological cycle, also known as the water cycle, it is the continuous movement of water through different reservoirs on Earth, including the atmosphere, surface water, groundwater and living organisms. It involves processes such as evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation and surface runoff. Carbon cycle. This involves the movement of carbon dioxide between the atmosphere, biosphere, living organism, hydrosphere, water bodies and lithosphere, earth crust and mantle. The main processes involved are photosynthesis, respiration, decomposition, combustion and geological process like weathering and volcanic activity. Nitrogen cycle. This is the continuous transformation and transfer of nitrogen between the atmosphere, biosphere and lithosphere. Key processes include nitrogen fixation, conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms, nitrification, conversion of ammonia to nitrites and nitrates, and denitrification, conversion of nitrates back to the atmospheric nitrogen. Phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is primarily obtained from rocks and minerals through weathering processes. It is then taken up by plants, consumed by animals, and returned to the environment through decomposition and excretion. Sulfur cycle. Sulfur is released into the atmosphere through volcanic activity and industrial processes, and it is taken up by plants and microorganisms. It is then cycled through the ecosystem through processes like decomposition, respiration, and precipitation. Ecological succession. Ecological succession is the gradual process by which communities of plant and animal species in an ecosystem are replaced over time, leading to a relatively stable climax community. There are two main types of ecological succession. Primary succession. These refer to the gradual development of a biotic community in a previously uninhabited and barren habitat, such as a new rock face or sand dunes. The process is typically slow due to the lack of existing life and organic matter. Secondary succession. These occurs in areas where a pre-existing biotic community has been disrupted or destroyed, like abandoned farmlands or burned forest. As some soil or sediment is already present, this type of succession progresses faster than primary succession.